Welcome, Facebook live stream viewers. We are delighted to have you with us. We're going for round 2 today. We just recorded one show, and now we are getting ready to do another. You know, it's that time of year. There's a lot going on, and so we're recording a couple of shows today so that we all don't have to be here on the holidays. So happy to have you with us. Please stay with us. We're going to be talking about saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. And I just realized I don't have it out here. Just a moment. Goodness. Can't talk about a book that we aren't showing, can we? There it is. Saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. That's my latest book. And actually, one of my favorites because it's sort of a universal problem. We're going to be talking about today in just a minute, so stay with us. Thank you.
Tired of the rut you're stuck in, but don't know what to do?
Change it up! Join life transitions therapist, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. She'll be exploring topics that make change and the challenge it presents smoother and more productive. She'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a better place. If you're ready to live a more exciting life, at home, in the workplace, and around the world, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and change it up. Now, here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. Delighted to have you here with me. We are going to be talking today about communication and learning to be able to say the right thing when you don't know what to say. Most of you know that my latest book, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say, is all about that. It's about communication and why humans are good at it and where the challenges are for us with communication. So we will be talking about that in depth in this show today. And I hope you'll stay with us because there are lots of things I want to share with you that will be very helpful in improving your communication. You know, we've got a new year coming. We all want things to be better. We want ourselves to be better. It's time to start exercising and maybe losing weight or doing the things we committed to do to improve our lives. So let's also improve our communication. Let's be better at connecting with and communicating with each other. So glad you're here. Welcome to Change It Up Radio. We are being brought to you today by LifeWave, the creators of phototherapy patches, which are free of drugs and chemicals to improve your health and improve your life. Well, Change It Up Radio. Those of you who follow us know that we're all about change. We're all about either spotlighting change makers who are trying to make the world a better place or doing what we're doing today, which is bringing you information to help make change accessible, more easily done, and to make it more productive. Because as we have said so many times before, we humans have that love-hate relationship with change. We need it so that we can grow and so that we can stay interested in life. But then, the discomfort of it. We don't like the unfamiliar. We don't like having to deal with things that we're not good at or that are different or uncomfortable or, all of those feelings we get when something's new. Now, not to say change can't be exciting and can't be exhilarating and energizing, because it certainly can be that too. But oftentimes change is difficult, particularly if it's unwelcome or came out of the blue, we didn't see it coming. That can also be difficult for us. And that's the kind of work that I do, actually, as a life transitions therapist. I help people who are having difficulty dealing with the changes that have happened in their lives. And if you would like to know more about the work I do, which is different from a lot of therapy in that I incorporate a lot of mind-body processes. I use energy psychology. I use mindfulness. I like to have my clients doing processing to help them move through whatever is going on with them. Because talk is great. We need to talk. We need to express what we're feeling, but it can only take us so far. The energy psychology processes that I love can actually take us beyond the conscious mind and access the subconscious mind so that change can happen more rapidly and more thoroughly. So if you would like to learn more about that work that I do, you can find that information on paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com. If you are interested in having me as a speaker for your event, you can get information on that and on the kinds of things I speak about on paulashawspeaks.com. And I also encourage you to please check out changeitupradio.com, because there you'll find past shows that are all archived, and we've had some amazing guests on this show, wonderful shows. So you can listen to any of the old shows on that website. You can also get information there about our demographics, who our listeners are, information about being a sponsor or a guest on this show. So please check out changeitupradio.com as well. All righty, so we're talking about communication today. We're talking about saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. Well, it's a fact. We humans are much better at light, fluffy, sort of meaningless conversation than we are at difficult conversation. We have a harder time talking and communicating when our feelings are involved or when someone else's feelings are involved. It's so easy to chat about last night's game or talk about the playoffs over the weekend. It's so easy to talk about the latest fashion trend or some outrageous thing that a movie star did. It's very difficult to have conversations that are not about those light, superfluous things. Conversations that happen when someone you love is dealing with a loss, or they're dealing with stress, or they're dealing with some kind of emotional pain. It's a lot harder for us to know what to say in those situations. For one thing, we often don't know if we should say anything because they're not crying in this moment, and we're afraid if we bring it up, maybe we're going to make them sad, or maybe we're going to, rock the boat, and we're not sure we're going to be able to deal with whatever's going to come up. Well, let me assure you, you're bringing up something difficult that your friend is going through is not what's going to make them think about it. They're already thinking about it 24/7. But your bringing it up could give them permission to talk about the feelings they're having, which could and would actually help them heal. It would actually make the situation better. When we can express our feelings, when we can talk about what we're going through, things start to seem better. They start to feel better. And we start to realize it's not as bad as it felt when we were just holding it inside and not knowing what to do, what to say. But one of the reasons that we all humans have difficulty with these conversations when we're getting into feelings and we're getting into somebody who's going through something tough is because, first of all, we were all raised differently. We had different parents. We had different cultural norms. We had different places where we grew up. And within those genres, certain things were okay and certain things weren't okay. And that influences how we feel about other people expressing those kinds of things as well. So let me give you an example. Let's say I grew up in a family where we talked about everything. You're upset, say you're upset. You're crying, go ahead and cry. Tell everybody what's wrong and let's hash it out and let's try to make it better. That's how it was in my family. But let's say now I'm trying to talk to someone who grew up in a family where culturally it was all about stiff upper lip, zip it up. We don't talk about feelings. You're upset, go to your room, go work it out. Come back when you can be fun and kind and cheerful. And there are all sorts of family rules and values and experiences that people grow up in. So now when somebody, let's say you go to the office and you're somebody who grew up in that family where everybody's demonstrative, and now you know that Susie down the hallway from you just got fired. But Susie grew up in a family where it's stiff upper lip. And now she walks by your office and she smiles and she says hello cheerfully. And you're thinking, what is with her? That's not how she really feels. She can't possibly be cheerful getting fired just before the holidays. What's going on there? I think she's crazy. So now you're not understanding the way Susie processes and the rights and wrongs in her mind puts you in a state of judgment and criticism rather than a state of compassion. So it's going to be difficult to try to have a conversation with Susie about what's just happened to her. And what do we humans tend to do when a conversation looks difficult? We avoid it. We don't have that conversation. We don't show up for our friend who might be in great need. So I don't want any more sad people all alone and having to deal with their pain alone because their friends are feeling insecure and unsure and apprehensive about talking to them. So we are going to talk today about why that happens and what we can do to process it better so that we can actually be there to support each other, to be there for those who are in need. So stay with me. We'll be back in just a minute and we're going to get into this so we'll all know how to say the right thing when we don't know what to say. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
If you could rebuild your health on a solid foundation, would you do it? Do you have health issues that doctors just can't get to the bottom of, and all they do is prescribe pills to lessen your symptoms? Would you like a better way? Certified FDN practitioner Desiree Lawn founded Autoimmune Health Freedom because she struggled with health issues from childhood that could not be explained. Today, she lives a vibrant life, free of aches and pains and full of energy to enjoy activities with her family. The life you would like to live. How did she do it? Autoimmune Health Freedom has the tools you need. For a free discovery session, call 858-248-1657 or go to autoimmunehealthfreedom.com. That's autoimmunehealthfreedom.com. Yes, you can feel better again. You can rebuild your health. You can have the life you want. Call 858-248-1657.
Desiree Lawn is not licensed by the state of California as a healing arts practitioner.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of OneTrust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw, and after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking, and we are being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped me clear those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw, and you should too. It really changed my perspective on life, business, and now my business is going great. You can reach her at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. 626-864-0756. Or check her out at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We're talking today about saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. And we're being brought to you by LifeWave, creators of phototherapy patches that change your life and your health with no drugs or chemicals. All right, so in our last segment, we talked about a couple of the reasons that people don't have the difficult conversations, why they don't show up. And one of the things I want to add to that piece is that fragile, hurting people scare us. We don't know exactly what to say. We don't want to break them. We don't want to hurt them worse. And they remind us, they're a reminder that at any moment, our lives can turn upside down and we could become those fragile, hurting people. So, of course, it's a lot better, a lot more fun to hang out with somebody who's jovial, who's funny, whose life is going great. But real life is real life. And sometimes we feel good, sometimes life is going great, and sometimes it's just not. So my goal today is to help to give you some tools that will make you better at those difficult conversations, because we need to love and support people that we care about, and especially when they're in pain, especially if they're dealing with some difficult situation. So we looked a little bit about at how growing up with different families and different family values shapes our thoughts and our behaviors. Other things that shape our thoughts and our behaviors could be things like societal norms. For example, in our society, it's pretty well accepted that when you go to a funeral, you wear black or a dark color. But maybe someone who goes to that same funeral grew up in a place where you wear a bright color to celebrate the person's life. It's very hard not to be in judgment of things that are different from the way you are. Personal beliefs, cultural beliefs, we're influenced by all these things. We're influenced by our personal life experiences and our values. So there's family influence, there's societal influence, and then there's personal experience influence. And all of these things have impact on how we communicate, the style, the things we are comfortable saying and the things we're not comfortable saying. And they influence how present we can be for someone who is going through difficulty. So we need to be aware of all these things, especially in a country like America where we're such a melting pot. So we have people and cultures from all over the world that live here, and people do things differently. While most Americans, I think, believe that at a funeral you cry, but you kind of cry quietly. You try and keep your sound soft. Well, there are other cultures where they wail, where they make loud noises with their pain. So if you're not a wailer, and a whaler is at a funeral that you're at and you haven't been raised to believe that's a norm, it's going to be very difficult for you. And as I mentioned in the last segment, whenever we get into judgment or criticism of others and the way they are handling something, we create division. And when there's division, there's no connection and communication. And what we really want is connection and communication. So we need to develop awareness of what our values, our family experiences, our societal norms, what are the things that we grew up believing. And then once we have awareness of that, we need to get real clear that everybody didn't grow up in our homes and in our towns with our parents. So we have to consciously step out of judgment and step into compassion, step into our humanity, not what country we came from or what the norms and the rights and wrongs of our people are, but let's just be humans, trying to help other humans. And when humans are hurting, they need compassion, they need connection. And in that situation, we need to be able to step back from our heads and step into our hearts. That's a really critical piece because your heart, there's so many things about humans that are similar, right? We all put on our pants one leg at a time. We all have foods that we like and foods that we don't like. We all overindulge in something. We all, we're just humans. We all love to cheer when our team is winning. We all feel sad when someone we love is hurting. And so if we can focus more on those things, the similarities, then we can come from our humanity and be better able to help someone who needs us. Now, there's another piece that I think is very, very important in communication, and that is you need to speak to somebody in words they can understand. And I'm not talking about languages here. I'm talking about the style they are. So, for example, if you're talking to somebody who's very warm and nurturing and chatty and friendly, and you come from this sort of subdued place and you're talking something like this, and you say, well, when I was a child, what I was taught was that, everything's going to work out fine, so there's really no need to get emotional and to make a big deal out of this. Do you think that chatty, emotional, social person is going to be able to hear you well? Is going to be able to be comfortable with how you're interacting with them? If you're with a person who's one of those cut to the chase type people, and you're going on and telling the details of the story of when your friend went through something similar, do you see how that can impact the communication in a negative way? Because this cut to the chase person just wants you to get to the point. And they don't want you to keep going on and on and on with all the details that to them are not important. So it's very important to tune in, even if you've never met this person before, even if it's the first conversation, tune in to who they are. Notice how they communicate. Are they very emotive, or are they very withheld? Are they chatty, or are they get to the point type people? See who they are and try to match that style. Because otherwise, your style can become a communication block. And then you're not going to be able to accomplish what you hoped to accomplish, which is this connection, this compassion, this interaction that gives comfort to this other person. Even if it isn't somebody who's sad, let's say you're at the office and you're going into a meeting on a new project. Again, these tips can serve you well because you will be better heard and the communication will be more thorough if you develop awareness of yourself, of where you came from, what you believe, what you were taught, and then tune into, who am I talking to here? Who is this person? Where did they come from? What are their values about? What is their communication style? There are like 4 basic different styles. There's people who are very nurturing and loving and compassionate. There are those who are very chatty. There are those who like to take charge and be in control. And then there are those who are kind of like, just give me the facts and figures. You know, I'll figure it out. I'll work through it. So notice who you're talking to as well as what you're saying to them. And communications will go so much better. That will help you say the right thing when you don't know what to say, because you're saying the right thing that the ears of the person you're talking to are going to be able to hear. But if you're just barreling along, doing it your way, and not tuning into who you're talking to, chances are not so good that that communication will serve your needs or their needs. That communication may never actually take place. Words may be said, but connection and communication may not be happening at all. So when we come back from this break, we're going to talk about what are the really critical things that we need to be aware of, in addition to all of this, to make that communication work. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Hi, Paula Shaw here. I'm so delighted to share with you that LifeWave has become our newest sponsor on Change It Up Radio. My family and I all use their tiny wearable patch technology, and the results are life-changing. My sister had lupus for over 20 years and has never slept well. Now she does. My mom's frozen shoulders simply went away. My favorite is the age-reversing X39, a patch engineered to activate stem cells. Yeah, it's true. They really work to improve how you look, feel, perform, and heal. LifeWave patches use a patented form of phototherapy, using frequencies of light to safely boost health and wellness at the cellular level with no drugs. Learn more online by visiting lifewave.com. That's lifewave.com.
My business has lost its upward momentum. I'm working up to 14 hours a day, but my sales seem to have plateaued. I'm so overwhelmed.
I used to have that same problem, but ever since I found the Balanced Millionaire consulting firm, our sales and profits have risen sharply. Even our staff is more engaged, and the atmosphere is full of energy.
I have no time to work on my business to develop new sales and marketing strategies. I would love to expand, have strategic partnerships, and access to financing.
You can do all of that and more. The Balanced Millionaire Consulting Team advises you on streamlining your operations, establishing alliances, and most importantly, increasing your revenues and profits.
Let us help you build value and reduce stress in your business. Take charge. Don't let your business control your life. Visit thebalancedmillionaire.com or call 442-224-0160 for a free consultation. That's 442-224-0160 or thebalancedmillionaire.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are talking today about saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. We're talking about communication, when it works, when it doesn't work, and what we can do to have it work better. Because after all, isn't that really the core of everything? Whether or not things work well at work, in the family, in life, it's all really about communication. And when we don't feel competent, when we don't feel adept at knowing how to speak and what to say in every different situation, we end up not showing up or not speaking or not expressing ourselves the way we really need to in order for communication to be good and for everyone to actually be getting along and feeling happier. So, good communication is critical to good life, as far as I'm concerned. It's absolutely critical. So, we've been looking at some reasons why communication can be difficult in those conversations that are more about what we feel, or in those conversations that are important, whether it's working with a team in the office, or whether it's chatting with your teenage children, or talking to your lover. We need to be able to say what's going on inside of us, or we need to be able to express a boundary, or we need to be able to express an idea. So, no matter what the communication is about, successful communication is pretty key and pretty critical in all of life. So, there are three other areas that we need to be aware of and that we need to look at because they are also influencing our communications. So, one of those areas is present life experiences and traumas. So, for example, let's say that a couple has adopted a child from a country where there has been war. When that child comes into the family, his or her style of communicating is going to be different. His or her level of gregariousness or introversion might be very much dependent on what they experienced in their lives before. One of the things I remember reading a while back was that when children have been physically abused, it's difficult for them to be even in a conversation with a very animated person who may be moving their hands around a lot or using their hands to gesture because those hands have been used in other situations to hit and hurt. So we need to be aware of the life experiences and perhaps the traumas that other human beings have been through if we're going to be successful at communicating with them in a manner that really connects. Another interesting thing that impacts our communication that a lot of people aren't aware of is what we refer to as limiting subconscious beliefs. Now, here's the really tricky part about this. We don't know we have these beliefs because they're subconscious. So the conscious mind doesn't really get it. The conscious mind isn't hearing or thinking those beliefs. They're lodged beneath the surface in the subconscious. But as I've shared with you in the past, the conscious mind, this thinking brain, this is only 5% of your mind functioning. 95% of the mind functioning is subconscious. Think about it. What a huge job the subconscious has. It's blinking your eyes, breathing your breath, pumping your blood, dividing your cells, working all of your organs. And it's, constantly surveying your surroundings to see if you're safe, to see if the world is treating you okay, if you're going to survive. It's working on so many different levels, we can't even begin to comprehend it. But one of the ways that it impacts our daily lives and every moment of communication is with the limiting beliefs that it's holding on to. So, for example, if I walk into work and all my colleagues have put together a surprise birthday party for me, but I'm holding a limiting belief that I don't deserve love and kindness, I'm probably not going to respond really well. And they're going to be hurt and they're going to wonder what's wrong with me that I didn't get happy about this and think it was great. Or if maybe somewhere in my past, something awful happened after a surprise, like a surprise party, but then maybe an earthquake happened or a fire started. Now I associate on a subconscious level that negative experience with this surprise. So now I may be holding a belief like surprises are not good things. Surprises are always precede disaster. And you don't know that you're holding these beliefs. I've had so many instances where clients have said to me, I don't know what it is. I just seem to attract every bad guy out there. And I'll say, well, let's check and see if you're holding a belief that you don't deserve to be loved and treated beautifully by a man. And of course, the response is always, well, of course I believe that I deserve that. But then there are methods we can use like neuromuscular feedback or muscle testing to actually find out what the beliefs in the subconscious mind are. And then we find out 9 out of 10 times that, in fact, a belief is being held that this person does not deserve good treatment, or all men are bad, or men can't be trusted, or women can't be trusted, or all women are gold diggers. Or if you have those kinds of subconscious beliefs, how in everyday life can you communicate beautifully enough to have an ongoing happy relationship? So again, we're impacted by a whole other area that a lot of people don't even know exists. Now, the third area that impacts how we respond in life and how we communicate in life is the genetic signatures that we inherit from our ancestors. They used to think it was junk DNA, that it didn't seem to mean anything. But ladies and gentlemen, we inherit much more from our ancestors, from our mothers and fathers and grandfathers, than the color of our eyes and the color and the kind of hair we have and the way we look. No, we also inherit the genetic signatures of how they responded to life. So, for example, if you're Irish and you know that there's a history of famine in Ireland, there's also a cultural norm of laughter and humor being a great way to get through life. There's even a tradition when someone passes away to celebrate their life rather than mourning it. That tradition, those ways of responding to life have been inherited by you. So this is a huge piece that up until even just recently, a few years ago, we did not know that this was typical. We thought, oh yeah, she's just like her mother, or he's just like his dad, or oh yeah, grandpa so-and-so was just like that. We kind of thought it was more adopting the role modeling or adopting what we saw in our environment. But we now know that it's actually the genetic signatures of our ancestors and how they found the way to cope and survive in their lifetimes. And so that got passed on to us. I just find that fascinating. I thought that was so interesting because we so often, I was just last night watching The Crown, and we think of the English so often as being concerned with doing what's right and what's proper. Well, yeah, that's been done for a long time in that culture. And so that genetic signature gets passed on. And now we produce more people who behave in a similar fashion. But do you see in the big picture how that's going to impact how those people communicate? If you come from people who were always fearful, or were fighters, or who never gave up, or who, had a sense of determination, that's going to impact how you live, how you think, how you feel, and how you communicate. So, yes, we're very complex beings, we humans. So, of course, talking to each other is not the easiest thing in the world. Talking successfully to each other, I should say. So, when you come back from this break, I am going to talk to you about the 5 steps of successful, effective communication. So, please stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com. Or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are talking about communication today, and we're being brought to you by LifeWave, creators of phototherapy patches that use no drugs and no chemicals to improve your health and improve your life. So, communication. We've been looking at so many facets of it. Why is it difficult in certain situations? Why is it difficult for humans to understand each other, to speak to each other, to connect with each other, rather than to just judge and criticize each other and create more division? Probably the biggest problem on the planet is that everybody thinks their way of doing things is the correct way. So everybody who's wrong needs to be straightened out, right? They got to change and start doing it my way for them to be okay. But the truth is, there are many, many, many different ways of doing, thinking, saying, being on this planet. And for all of the people that are doing those things and saying those things and being that way is correct. So in order for us to have good communication, we really have to step out of judgment. We have to step out of needing everybody to be like us, needing everybody to think like us. So what I'd like to share with you in this segment are the 5 steps of what I call comforting, effective communication. Communication that connects rather than divides. Okay, so step 1. Before you go into a communication or a conversation, particularly if it's important, set an intention. Decide ahead of time how you would like this communication to turn out. So you might say something like, my intention is that this communication will be open, warm, smooth, and connecting. Will help us to grow closer and understand each other better. That's a great intention for a conversation. Or maybe your intention is, my intention for this conversation is for him to really understand how I feel and the kinds of behaviors that are very hard for me to tolerate. So you see, there can be all sorts of intentions for a conversation, but go into the conversation with an intention. Step 2, be present. The head and the heart and the body have to all be in the same place. You cannot be thinking about where you're going tonight or what happened last night when you're in the midst of trying to have a successful conversation. Your focus, your mind, your heart, your body all need to be present, because not only will that make your communication clearer, it will put out an energy to the listener that you're really there and that you're really wanting this communication. That's very different than somebody who's going, yeah, yeah. And when someone else is talking, you're kind of looking away or checking your phone or that kind of thing. I mean, I know we've all had that experience. You're on the phone with somebody, you can't see them, but you know from their delayed responses that they're either checking their emails or checking their text messages while you're talking to them. And it's awful, isn't it? The energy just shuts you down. It's just end of conversation. You don't want to say anything important, and you certainly don't want to bare your heart or soul when you know that somebody isn't fully present. So be present. Step 3, have the mindset of comfort and support without judgment. Consciously desire that you're just there to listen, to support, to help that person feel comforted, to feel that someone's with them. They're not alone. There's a connection. There's listening ears. There's understanding. When a human has that, there's this great line, I can't quote it, but M. Scott Peck wrote it, and it's something to the effect that when there is true, deep listening, the heart of the person who's speaking opens up, and this level of trust develops so that they can really bare their soul and really talk about the deep, intense feelings that they're having. There's communication on a completely different level when the listener is engaged in deep listening. So be there with this mindset of comfort and support and no judgment. Don't be looking at what they're wearing or, oh, that fingernail polish color. Oh, why did they do their hair that way? That's not going to help create a nice connection in this communication. Just see them as a human being who needs you right now, who needs you to be present and to be listening. And that brings me to the next step, which is just that, listen. Listen with the intent to hear. Don't listen with the intent to figure out what you're going to say next. Just listen with the intent to hear. Because when you do that, you actually will hear. This communication will be a completely different communication. It'll be happening on such a much deeper level because you're really listening to what they're saying. It's like saying, I want to know what you think. I want to know what you feel. I really want to know, and that's why I am not speaking, I'm listening. Oh my goodness, that can provide so much healing to a person that's hurting. Because, you've all heard before that the deepest answers are really within all of us. We don't get our best stuff from somebody else. Sometimes their words do inspire us, or they do really make sense to us, and yeah, we have a great learning experience. But so often, especially when we're really troubled, the deepest learning, the real answers, have to come from us. They have to come from inside us. And when somebody's really listening, we find ourselves speaking those important truths, saying what we actually really need to hear ourselves. So if you really want to have an effective communication with someone or help someone who's emotional or who's hurting, you don't have to be the wisest person on the planet. You don't have to have all the answers. Just listen. Be there with this listening ear, and their own wisdom, their own answers will come forth. And that's probably what they need way more than any advice you have or any story you want to tell to teach them something. Remember, when we go into an important conversation, you're not there to be a teacher. You're not even really there to be a healer or some wise person who has all the answers that can fix them. We're not there to fix. We're there to support. We're there to comfort. We're there to listen. And when we do those things, then true communication and true healing, true help can actually take place. So now step 5, respond from the heart, not the head. Now, obviously, if this is a business conversation, then maybe you're responding from the head. Your knowledge is important. But when someone is emotional or someone is dealing with something difficult in life, it's your humanity that they need, not your database. So all those wise ideas, all those years of your experiences, all those things that you are so sure can be helpful, really can't be helpful during the point a person is in an emotional state. They just need love and comfort and support at that point. That's why sometimes the best thing is just a hug. No words. So remember those 5 steps. Set your intention, be present, have a mindset of comfort and support, not judgment. Listen, really listen with the intent to hear, and respond from the heart, not the head. All right. So if you do those things, you're going to find that you are so much better at saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. And if you found this show helpful, please share it. Share it with everybody you can think of. And if you're interested in having a workshop on this kind of a topic at your place of business or your organization, please go to paulashawspeaks.com and get the information on how to contact me. Also, you can find out more about my work at paulashaw.com, and you can learn more about this show on changeitupradio.com. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being with us. You can hear us on AM 1170 The Answer and 96.1 FM The Answer on Sunday evenings at 9. And we're on every major podcast platform. All right, take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Change It Up with life transitions expert, speaker, and best-selling author, Paula Shaw. Join the Change It Up movement with Paula Shaw as we explore topics that inspire, welcome change, and create a new kind of conversation. To learn more about Paula, how to be a guest on the show, and sponsorship opportunities, visit changeitupradio.com. Whether you're feeling happy, sad, mad, or glad, it never hurts to change it up.
Thank you, Facebook live stream viewers, for being with us. And again, if you found this show helpful, please share it. And if any of you are working for companies or organizations where you think this kind of a training or a workshop would be helpful, you can reach me at paulashaw.com or at 626-864-0756. Thank you. Thanks for being with us. And take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.